Stephanie Roy. And lastly, in partnership with this congregation, with our host congregation, we're participating in a school supply collection drive, which will be held for 2 weekends in August, starting August 3rd. So the items most needed are listed in the bulletin that you received today, probably in the newsletter if you got the email newsletter, and every item must be new. And thank you. We want to thank you in advance for your generosity in helping kids in need in local schools. So now it's time for our namaste. Please to greet each other with a hug or a handshake or whatever is comfortable for you.
That song was beautiful, dear. It reminds me of James Dillard Freeman, Unity's poet laureate, a poem called I Am There. And so much of what you reflected reminds me of that poem. So thank you very much. So I am super excited to be here this morning. As Charles Fillmore would say, I feel a sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm to spring forth to mighty death. I'm a little nervous-eyed this morning. I feel a sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm to spring forth with a mighty faith to do that which is mine to do. So I was thrilled when I was asked to speak on a Sunday, and then the Unity Geek happy that we were going to be doing a series based on Unity's 5 principles. And so I wanted just to give a quick history, because I am a licensed teacher, and there's part of me. So in the 1990s, Connie Fillmore, who is did I lose my mic?
No, you're good.
Okay, all right. So in the 1990s, Connie Fillmore, who is the great-granddaughter of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founders, was asked to synthesize Unity's teachings. And she boiled them down into what we now call Unity's 5 principles. And they are, in the children's version that I like best, God is, I am, I create it, I pray it, and I live it. God is, I am, I create it, I pray it, and I live it. I love things that are easy for me to remember, that I can call upon when I need to. And so today's talk is inspired by principle number 3, I create. The longer version of that is that human beings create their experiences based on the activity of their thinking. That everything in the manifest realm has its beginnings in our thoughts. So my talk title today is We Are the Music Makers and the Dreamers of Dreams. It's actually the first line in a poem called Ode that was written in the 1800s by author And I think it's time for us to stand in our power, to be active, conscious participants in the world that we are creating. You know, our awareness, I am so tongue-tied this morning. Breathe with me, everybody. Our awareness and our willingness to shift our consciousness and to take action is so crucial at this time. Unity minister and author Eric Butterworth stated it this way in his book on spiritual economics. He said it's an important time in our life when you discover for yourself the great truth that things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. You have precious little control over the elements or the fluctuation of the stock market or the unpredictable behavior of other people. Isn't that true, right? Amen. Which is true. Or your co-workers or whatever. Not that I'm thinking of anybody. However, you live in a world of your consciousness, which is the sum total of your thoughts in your mind. And you have control over what you put in your mind. This is not to say that it's easy, but to establish that it is possible. And 2 Timothy states it this way: For the Spirit that God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. And I don't know how many of you have heard of it. I know some folks here follow Jim Palmer, if you've not heard of him. He's a former minister of a mega church. He is the founder of CNRS, which is the Center for Non-Religious Studies. He's an author, religious trauma counselor, ultra-marathon runner, and a heretic. And he put it this way, and a heretic. It is a word, so yeah. Doesn't it sound like, wouldn't you like to add that to your resume? I'm a heretic. A heretic for God. He stated, that you think that peace and joy, liberation, wholeness, and harmony that you desire is beyond your reach, and that you're separated from it. And I tell you, it's right at your fingertips. What you seek is not somewhere else or later. It is right here, right now, in this very moment. What you've been searching for your entire life has always been within you and is you. Quit looking for it out there. Go into yourself and see how deep the place is from which the kingdom flows. At its source, you will find that the answer that you've been searching for has always been there. And collectively, Margaret Mead, cultural anthropologist, put it this way. She said, never doubt where a small group of thoughted, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that it has. Now we have an incredible ability to create. So how? How do we do that, right? How do we harvest that? How do we use that? First, I think it begins with our consciousness. We need to take responsibility for our thoughts and our actions. You know, what are we planting? And I thought it would be fun to take a look at some of the 12 powers and how we might be using those. There's a lot of great books on the 12 powers. My personal favorite is Power Up by Paul Hesselbeck. So see me if you want any information on books about the 12 powers and some of the other Unity teachings. I'm very passionate about that, and I'd love to share that with you. So our power of faith, that's our ability to intuit, to perceive, to have conviction. So take a look at yourself and be honest about where you are in consciousnly. Are you like Eeyore? I might as well keep my tail off, it's gonna fall off anyways, right? Or are you like, Tigger? Yeah, T-I-G-G-R, Tigger. Or are you using your faith to remind yourself about your amazing ability to transcend difficult situations? Right. How are you using your power of faith? And our power of will, that's our ability to choose, decide, command, direct, determine. Are you wishy-washy and can't make a decision? Are you stubborn and must have your way? I think some of you are recognizing yourself in some of these descriptions. Or others. Or are you using your power of will to focus your attention, your actions, to be the highest version of yourself? Like, are you using your power of will to say, no, I'm going to do things differently this time? Or yes. Our power or dominion, that's our ability to master, to dominate and control. Like, are you using your power to control others or manipulate others? Or are you using it to master your own thoughts and actions? And our power of